Welcome friends. Today we are going to take a topic on aggregate production planning, which is unit 6 of your course production management, that is BME 013, and I am your course coordinator Dr. Ashish Agrawal. Basically, when we talk about aggregate production planning, the term aggregate production planning indicate that we are aggregating some quantity. If I take the example of a cement factory or the steel company, there are so many types of products. Steel rods of various sections, railway sections, ingots, different types of. So what do you think? Are they going to plan the production for each type of product? For rods, different types of rods, there is a separate production planning. For ingots, there is a different planning, and for railway section, there is a different planning. You just imagine the complexity faced by the MD of a steel company. What they do, they take the tons of steel. They never say that they are manufacturing so many tons of rods. They will simply say that 5,000 tons of steel is manufactured every week. So they will plan the resources in terms of man, human resource, equipment, machinery, all they will plan. So that is called the aggregate production planning. Aggregate planning is an integral part of any business planning process. All the business organization experiences time varying demand of its project or their products. This leads requirement of aggregate plan, that is a statement of production rates, workforce level, inventory holding based on the estimate of customer requirement and the capacity limitation. What do you understand by production rate? Production rate refers to the number of units completed per unit of time, such as per hour or per day. Workforce level, on the other hand, is the number of workers needed for production, and if I define in a mathematical term, it is production is equal to production rate into the workforce level. So we can find out what is the workforce level, we can find out production rate if the other two quantity we know. Third important thing is inventory holding. Basically, inventory holding is a unused inventory carried over from the previous period. A manufacturing firm's aggregate production plan generally focus on production rate and inventory holding. That means what is the inventory there on their hand and how they are going to produce it. Based on the broad long-term goals of an organization, the aggregate production plan determines as to how the organization will work in the future in order to meet their objective plan. For manufacturing company, the aggregate plan links strategic goals and objective with production plan for individual product and the specific component that go into them. If I come to the formal statement of aggregate planning problem, if we have a demand forecast of F subscript T, means that is for the period of T, in the planning horizon that extend over the T period, that may be long range planning, that may be medium range planning, that may be the short range planning. The production level is P, inventory level is I, the workforce level is WT for the period T is equal to 1 to up to T. Now, what is the ultimate objective of aggregate production planning? With the help of all these three inputs, we want to minimize the relevant cost over the planning horizon. That may be 1 month to 1 year to 5 years, that is the planning horizon. Now, what are the different forms of aggregate plan? The form of aggregate plan varies from company to company. That you must understand, if the company is fast moving consumer goods, the type of aggregate planning will be different. If it is a automotive company or car manufacturing company, the form of aggregate plan will be entirely different. Even as a student, the aggregate plan for preparation of examination will be another form. In some form, it is a formalized reporting and containing the planning objective and the planning premises on which it is based. In other company, particularly the smaller one, the owner may make simple calculation of workforce need that reflect staffing strategy. That means if the company is small, the owner will decide itself how he is going to meet the production plan. He may have the simple calculation. On the basis of that, he will decide what is the staffing strategy, how many staff should be hired and how many staff should be fired. The way of deriving the plan varies from circumstances to circumstance. That I will just explain you. In some cases, the company needs to provide the products in the market at a very short duration of time. This is one circumstance. Another circumstance is a new competitor has come with a new product. Then in order to sustain in the market, the company will try to launch its own product. So we have a different way of forming the aggregate plan. Now if you just see, this figure will tell you what is the forecast that is needed, what is the decision process, and where you will take the decision. For example, at a shop superintendent level, or at the plant manager level, or at the higher or the corporate level. So this will, I have given this thing, that what are the requirements, what is the decision process, and where it should be taken. A typical corporate plan contains a section of manufacturing that specifies how many units in each major product line need to be produced over the next 12 months to meet the sale forecast. If a product has different components or just sub-component, then in the corporate plan we need to specify how you are going to meet the sale forecast. Means whatever is the sales demand, that has to be met by the production. The planner takes this information and attempts to determine how best to meet these requirements with the available resources. There are some alternatives also. Some organization combine the output requirement into an equivalent unit and use this as a basis of aggregate plan. For example, a division of Ford Motors may call to produce a certain number of cars of all types at a particular facility. Production planner would then take the average labor hours required to all models as a basis for overall aggregate plan. Refinement to this plan, specifically model types to be produced and would be reflected in a short-term production plan. One of the example for the form of aggregate production plan, I will just explain you. Suppose Maruti Udyog Limited is producing Alto 800, Estilo Zen, then WagonR, then higher version Baleno and Ciaz, different cars. Now they will not specify that, or they will not plan individually for Alto, WagonR or Ciaz or Baleno. What they will do, they will treat Alto as a 0.8 unit, WagonR as a 1 unit, Baleno as a 1.2 unit, Ciaz or SX4 may be 1.5 unit. So they will sum up and they will say that this much unit of passenger car is going to be manufactured within 3 months time. So they will plan all the resources according to that much units of passenger car. So they will not go for the individual one. Another approach regarding the form of aggregate plan is to devote the aggregate plan by simulating various master production schedule. This term master production schedule, or in short we say MPS, is a common term which will be used in our next session, that is material requirement planning. Basically, master production schedule gives you the complete information about the component, about the resources, about the different schedule to produce that particular product. So basically it calculates the corresponding capacity requirement to see if adequate number of labor or equipment exist at each work center to meet the sales forecast. If the capacity is inadequate, then what are the different alternatives? Are we going to buy the product, or we need a overtime, we want to go for subcontracting, or we want a extra labor to meet the specified date for the production line. This is called a rough cut plan. This plan is then modified by a cut and try or mathematical methods to derive a final and one hope lower cost plan. So what will we do? We will also try to focus on cut and try mathematical model. After going through today's session, you will be able to know aggregate production planning environment, and you will also be able to learn different aggregate production planning strategies. This picture will give you internal and external factors that constitute a production planning environment. If you just see on the top, you have a raw material availability, and at the bottom you will say the current physical capacity, current workforce, what is the inventory level, and what are the activities required for the production. So all these will give you a aggregate production planning environment. In general, if you talk about the external environment, it is an environment outside the production planner, which is not in direct control for the planner. But in some firm, demand for the product can be managed through the close cooperation between marketing division and operations division. Promotional activities, and price cutting can be used to build the demand during the slow period. That means if the period is slow, that slow period means the sale for that particular product is not so much encouraging. That is called the slow period. So what we will do, we will either make some promotional activities or we will decide some price cutting so that the sale for those products can be improved. Conversely, when the demand is strong, if your demand is strong, then what we should do, we should curtail the promotional activities, because every promotional activities consumes the money or the even the time also. Even we can raise the price to maximize the revenue from those products and services that the firm have the capacity to provide them. That means there are two conditions. One, when the market demand is low, and second condition, when the market demand is strong. So these are the two circumstances, and according to first, the strategy is different, and for the second, when the demand is strong, the strategy is different. Complementary products may work for the firm facing the cyclic demand fluctuation. We always see that there is a demand fluctuation, and the demand fluctuation is cyclic in nature. In some period it is going up and some period it is going down. We will take one example of lawn mower manufacturer. It's a strong demand in case of spring and summer season, but another product which may have a weak demand during spring and summer, for instances there are several garden equipments, and we can combine it with the equipment or the product which is a high demand. So we will have the strategy to combining these two products so that the product which is having the weak demand can be combined with the product having the strong demand. With service, cycles are more often measured in hours than the months. Restaurant which has a strong demand during the lunch and dinner, often they add the breakfast menu to increase the demand during the morning hours. But even so, there are limitations. How much demand you can control? If it is more, you cannot bring it at a lower side, and if it is low, it cannot be immediately, you cannot improve in 1 day or 2 days. Ultimately, the production planner must lie with the sales projections, order promised by the marketing function, leaving the internal factors as a variable that can be manipulated in deriving a production plan. We were discussing about the aggregate production planning environment, in which we will try to focus on a new approach, which is to facilitate managing these internal factors in terms of accurate response. This also entails refinement measurement of historical demand patterns blended with the expert judgment to determine when to begin the production of a particular item. The key element of the approach is clearly identifying those products for which the demand is relatively predictable from those for which the demand is relatively unpredictable. Internal factors themselves differ in their controllability. That means some factors are easy to control while some factors are difficult to control. The current physical capacity, that is the plant and equipment, is usually nearly fixed in short run. That means we are not going to change the physical capacity, and sometimes union agreement also put constraint that what can be done in changing the workforce. Physical capacity cannot always be increased. and top management may also limit the amount of money that can be tied up in case of the inventory. So these are the basically constant, and you should always understand this constant while understanding the aggregate production planning environment. There are some strategies. Basically, there are 3 production planning strategies, and all these strategies involve trade-off among the workforce size, trade-off among the work hours, inventory, and the backlog. So the first strategy is a very common, that is called the chase strategy. Chase strategy match the production rate to the order rate by hiring or laying off the employees as the order rate varies. That means if the demand is more, they will hire, and if the demand is low, they will lay off some employees. Success of this strategy depends on having a pool of easily trained applicants to draw on an order as the order volume increases. So that the company needs to understand, if they do not have the pool, it is very difficult to hire. There are obvious some motivational impact because if the workforce is motivated, then definitely they will work more for your organization. When the order backlogs are low, the employees may feel compelled to slow down out of fear of being laid off as soon as the existing orders are completed. You just understand this line, the mental status of the employees if the order backlogs are low. What we mean by stable workforce and the variable work hours. Stable workforce or the variable work hours vary the output by varying the number of hours worked through the flexible working system or overtime. That means we can use overtime, we can use the flexible working schedule. Main thing is the 12 hours or 8 hours of the working. By varying the number of work hours, we can match the production quantities to order. This strategy provides workforce continuity and avoids many of the emotional and tangible costs of hiring and firing associated with the chase strategy. Second strategy is called the level strategy. Level strategy maintains a stable workforce working at a constant output rate. Shortages and the surplus are achieved or absorbed by fluctuating inventory level, order backlog, or the lost sales. There is a difference between the lost sale and the backlog. Backlog is a type of a back order which company needs to be fulfilled, while in case of lost sale, it is gone forever. Employees benefit from the stable workforce at the cost of potentially decreased customer service level and the increased inventory cost. Another concern is the possibility of inventoried product becoming obsolete. That means if you have a huge inventory or you have a much inventory you have kept in anticipation of future demand, it is more likely that they will become obsolete in near future. When just one of these variables is used to absorb the demand fluctuation, it is termed as a pure strategy. When we combine two or more, then it is called the mixed strategy. As we might suspect, mixed strategy are more widely applied in the industry. Now there are different costs. So here we are going to discuss 4 costs that are relevant to the aggregate production. These relate to the production cost itself as well as cost to hold the inventory and to have unfilled order. The first one is called the basic production cost. These are the fixed and the variable cost incurred in producing a given product type in a given time period included are direct and indirect labor cost and the regular as well as the overtime compensation. So these all things are included in the basic production cost. Now, what are the costs associated with the changes in the production rate? As you know that when the demand goes up or down, we have to change the production rate. Then we should talk about the various costs which are associated while changing the production rate. Typical costs in this category are those involved in hiring, training and laying off person. Hiring temporary help is a way of avoiding all these costs. Instead of hiring a permanent, we should take the help of a contractual labor, and that will solve our problem for a limited period of time. Another important cost is inventory holding cost. Means if you are keeping an inventory in anticipation for the future use, that is called the inventory holding cost. It constitutes a major component of the capital tied up, and other components of this cost are storing, insurance, taxes, spoilage and obsolescence. All these costs comes under the inventory holding cost. Another important cost is back ordering cost. If suppose you are going on a store and you are not finding the particular product, and if you are ready to wait, then the retail shopkeeper will write your demand and he will make available this product in a 1 week or 2 week time. That is called the back order cost. Usually these are very hard to measure and include the cost of expedite, loss of customer goodwill and the loss of sales revenue resulting from the back order. Another important cost component is the budget. Budget means budget to receive funding. Operation managers are generally required to submit annual or sometimes quarterly budget request. That means that budget shows you certain requirement you need to raise the fund. Aggregate planning activities are the key to success of the budgeting process. That means if you are aggregated some plan, that will be an important component of your budgeting process. Recall that the goal of aggregate planning is to minimize the total production related cost over the planning horizon by determining the optimal combination of workforce level and the inventory level. Under the heading of budget, aggregate planning provides a justification for the requested budget amount. If you have accurate medium range planning, that will increase the likelihood of receiving the requested budget and the operation within the limit of the budget. If we talk about the different aggregate production planning technique, all the companies commonly use a simple cut and try approach, which involves costing out various production planning alternatives and selecting the one that is the best. It will also elaborate through spreadsheets. So we say that we are developing the spreadsheet to facilitate the decision process. Sophisticated approaches such as linear programming, simulation are often used in all these spreadsheets. Even the transportation method is a commonly used for the aggregate production planning technique. In the following session, we will also try to demonstrate how a spreadsheet approach to evaluate the 4 strategies for meeting the demand for the company. This is a figure which will show you a complete aggregate production plan. On the top you have a working days, then materials, then managerial cost for the stock out, hiring and training, labor input, overtime, then inventory all these will come under the aggregate production planning. Now, if I talk about how aggregate planning work with the operation management and how it all fits together. Aggregate planning determines the resources available to operation to support the overall business plan. That means it will see various operation, various resources and analyze how they are going to support the overall business plan. It is critical that an accurate demand forecast be available so that a reasonable production plan can be developed. As we have seen in our session on forecasting, we have seen several forecasting techniques, but it is also true that demand forecast cannot be made accurate. Therefore, our production plan should be reasonably developed considering the accuracy of the demand forecast. A company needs to determine the aggregate production rate required to determine the appropriate size of the workforce. That means why we need aggregate production? Because there is a one overall business plan, then we have a production rate, and on the basis of that production rate we will try to find out what should be the appropriate size of the workforce in order to meet that production rate. So that is why we need the aggregate production rate, and always remember to consider the demand forecast while determining the production rate. All these determinations have been made. The company can calculate its inventory level. It will try to determine backorder level, what are the capacity requirement, and what is the customer service level. So first we have to determine the production rate. Then on the basis of that we will try to find out the workforce, inventory level, back order level, capacity requirement, and the customer service level. If the plan requires a 7-day-a-week operation, then appropriate staff solution or the schedule need to be developed. That means because we cannot call a person more than 5 days or 6 days, so we will plan our production schedule considering the 7 days. Some will come from Monday to Saturday, some will come from Tuesday to Sunday. That is the meaning of the appropriate staff schedule that needs to be developed. If I summarize the whole session, first and important point for this session is you have to understand the definition and the physical significance of the aggregate production planning. Second, it is illustrated that how the internal and external factors constitute the production planning environment that will bring the determination of workforce, inventory, all these things. We have also gone through the brief description of production planning strategies along with the relevant costs are provided. We have discussed inventory cost, we have discussed production cost, budget, all different levels of cost we have discussed. These relevant costs consist of basic production cost, cost associated with the change in the production rate, inventory holding cost, and the back ordering cost. So Aggregate production planning is a very important and very interesting, and it is also related with a common man also. As a student, for example, you have two types of strategy to prepare for the examination. The first strategy, you can cram the whole your syllabus in the last night, and you will give the examination, you will take the examination. Second strategy, you can make the notes of every lecture throughout your semester, and simply you review and you will give your examination. The first strategy is good when the situation is constant or the stable. If you have a unstable demand, for example, you have a 2 examination in one day or 3 examination in one day, then the cramming will not be sufficient for taking the examination successful. If you have a 1 examination, then definitely you have a sufficient time. You can go through your whole syllabus in one night and you can take the examination. You just see the complexity of this and compare with the complexity with the manufacturing company, where they are producing a large variety of products. So aggregate production planning is very important. In next session, we will try to study the different aggregate production planning strategy or the techniques, just like cut and try techniques, linear programming, transportation model. All types of strategies we will study in the next session. Thank you.